Hello and welcome to yet another reaction video. This time we're gonna take a look at a couple of videos from Golgot 100. And if you remember that guy, that's the guy from Reddit, Star Citizen Refunds subreddit. And yeah, he made a YouTube channel, and honestly, I love his videos, and they're just like montages of some things that CAG said over the years, and they're just like contradictory and amazing. And I just love this guy so much. I don't know him, but I love his channel, and I want you guys to subscribe to him. And I'm gonna leave his channel, like the link to his channel, in my description of the video and in the first comment in the top comment, so you can like subscribe there and watch all of the videos that he's gonna release. Anyway, let me roll the intro and let's watch the videos.
Hello, my name is Grumpy.
Alright, so we're maybe gonna watch 3 videos if there is enough time. I want to keep it short, but I also like all 3 of the videos, and I think that they are all interesting. I did a couple of videos like this, one of which I released like, I don't know, a week ago maybe, and it's funny. It's like music, and it's just like some things that CAG said about their ships, and it's gonna be linked here. I don't want to like promote it that much, but if you want to watch it, it's gonna be linked here. It's funny, and it's yeah, that's the whole point of the video. But there is more, there is always more, like more things that they said that weren't really truthful, and you will see that in a second. And that's why I wanna watch all 3 videos with you. But yeah, then the video is gonna be like, this video is gonna be maybe too long, but fuck it, let's try at least 2, and maybe there's gonna be time for the 3rd one. So let me switch the camera. Okay, so this is his channel, Golgot 100, whatever that means, I don't know, but yeah. So we watched one of his videos already, and it's gonna be posted here, like on his YouTube channel. It's about the mobiGlas and the evolution of the mobiGlas and the constant fucking rework of the mobiGlas. But these videos are something a bit different. So this one is called Persistence. Persistence gotta cache them all. So let's watch it.
The next major deliverable for the persistent universe will be called persistence. It will involve everything from database abstraction layers and caching functionality, integration with a new global entity ID system, the seamless transition of items from one server to another.
So that was 2015. Seamless transition from one server to another, persistence, etc., etc.
The seamless transition of items from one server to another.
You know, it's never 100%. You know, we still have a lot of data that's yet to be designed before we can persist it.
And we have the P cache.
So that was
persistence cache
2016. So they were just announcing how the persistence is going to work.
And we have the P cache.
2017.
Persistence cache sits before the persistence database service.
Now look, maybe his videos are not edited like they should have been, because he you can say that he lacks the skills. He's gonna get better, like we all get better over time. But the point behind it, like the reason behind making these videos and like just telling you, hey guys, they talked about this fucking 7 years ago, and it's still not working, and we'll start trying to get it to work so we can get fucking server meshing. So that's the point. Do not, like, yes, maybe he could have used another font, maybe he could have like, I don't know, used something else and edited the whole video a bit differently. But the point behind these kinds of videos is the truth, and that's it.
That writes directly to the database, taking all the traffic from all the dedicated game servers. So many stateless, easy to scale services that we can have whatever we want and cope with whatever load we get.
Now that we feel that we've got the bones in place for the persistent universe in terms of, you know, fully persistent ships, characters, items.
2017.
You know, full persistence, the ability
2018.
for you to go anywhere in the universe and, me drop this remote on the floor.
And this is the second time, and I don't know why he didn't use the original one. I think he had, like Chris said, in 2014 or maybe 15, like dropping the cup somewhere in the middle of woods, and then just coming back to it at one point and finding the same cup that you dropped. So that's a thing that he was saying for fucking years. And this is like the second time, I think, that Chris talked about it. And it's like a recurring theme for Star Citizen.
And, me drop this remote on the floor. Doesn't work, so I might as well drop it. There you go, right? So, and then I'm gonna walk away, right? I'm gonna walk out here. It's gonna stream out. It's gone. And I decide, oh, you know what? I really want my remote again. And then it's gonna remember that I dropped it. It's gonna stream it back in, even if it was on the surface of a planet. And it'll be there, and I can pick it up in first person. And that's a big step for us to be able to do that. And
but we're doing a complete.
So that was 2018. This is 2019.
The whole database, the item cache. Drop my gun in the woods somewhere in Hurston, and I leave. I come back. That gun will be there. But I would say, expect to see the persistent changes come. We're hoping to. I'm not going to say that after.
Sometime.
So he didn't want to say when, because at this point they've been talking about this for fucking 4 years now.
Around about middle of this year, I think. So full universe persistence, and that is the persistence that allows us to save everything. Period. So you can take your coffee mug and drop it in a forest, or you could come back and see it if someone else hasn't stolen it. And so and that iterates to every. We save the state. It goes back to a cloud database. It's what we're calling the iCache.
So that's the iCache that was introduced into 2020, and it was just not enough for server meshing. It works. Obviously, you can drop shit, and it's gonna be there. It's gonna stop streaming as soon as nobody's close to it. That's what happens with the NPCs. That's what happens with the all the items. But also, that's not enough for server meshing, and that's why they are working on PES.
The new iCache is also being built with our gameplay systems in mind, an understanding of how we need to query data from game servers.
So before they were talking about the P-cache and persistence cache, and that's apparently a legacy system. So now in 2020 they were talking about iCache, and I think they released it in 2020, just like before I started playing Star Citizen.
At this point we have a much better idea of how the game works than when the legacy P-cache was created.
The difference beyond 3.8, the iCache system we're talking about, is that allows us to almost shape the world with this persistence. So like as a player, I could make a homestead on a planet and build myself a little outpost or a hut or
right. And it's not just to be clear, it's not just a you thing. It's like, well, if you build that homestead in the middle of nowhere and someone happens to stumble upon it, then they can interact with it, they can raise it to the ground, they can customize it, they can have them and their friends move in. It's like you don't really know what the state's going to be when you leave things out in these public places.
It's completely emergent behavior that's kind of like what you would see in the real world, really.
These are all actually very simple things to leverage this, long-term persistent functionality.
Yeah, and it sounds so simple, but the emergence of it is incredible.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it, but that's what we do so often, which is we build in the low level, the fundamental mechanics, and then you get all of this complex functionality just naturally results.
All right, so there you go.
Honestly, I'm still waiting to see that. Honestly, that emergent gameplay and them building the foundations of the game, so all this complex stuff happens. I'm just waiting to see the complex stuff because, yeah.
Folks, that's a fairly in-depth discussion of what's coming up this year.
Yeah, we're building out the back-end database, what we call the entity graph, that is going to sort of persist and remember the state of every single entity and object. Whether you dropped a Coke can in the middle of a forest on a planet, we're making really good progress to it. I'm not going to promise any dates because it's by far the
one of the first mentions of the PES, because iCache was not enough.
Most technically challenging thing, I would
2021.
say probably by the end of this year, we should hopefully have the proper persistence in there that we talked about, the proper global persistence. Which
Now, look, like it's completely reasonable not to like meet the deadline because it's a huge thing, but not to meet the deadline and like go all the way to next year, 2022, in December 2022, when PES patch is supposed to happen, and then still not be sure if that's going to be enough for server meshing. After all these years, no, that's not how you do it. I mean,
which is
sure,
sort of streaming entity graph thing that I've just discussed, which is the new version of what was being called the iCache before, if people are getting confused about that.
Our current
so they're calling the new version of iCache PES.
aim is to release persistent streaming and the first version of the replication layer, ideally, between Q1 and Q2 next year.
iCache would likely not be able to have low latency. That means that you could drop a gun or a med pen in a forested area on 1.18 release to license.
This is just a weird edit.
I know many of you have been waiting for salvage, physicalized cargo, and persistent entity streaming for a long time, and I am excited to see us in the home stretch to finally bring it to you.
All right, slow clap. So, yeah, I don't know what to say, honestly. I guess we gotta wait and see PS working, and then we gotta wait and see server meshing. But PS is basically iCache but updated, and I was raging about this for almost the whole year because they announced, or Chris himself said, that PES patch or 3.18 is going to drop in July of this year, if I remember correctly, or maybe June. It doesn't matter, but like a lot of months ago, and yeah, it's still not in the PTU. It's still in Evo Kadi, and it's in Evo like every couple of weeks for a couple of hours. So yeah, I guess we're getting closer, but like not that much closer. So let's watch the next video. This video is going to be called "Nice to See You," the Hull C 2016 to 2022, the progress of the Hull C.
But anyway, so 3.1 is going to have the Miss Hull C for trading. There's probably going to be something like 2 to 3 months between releases.
So yes, first of all, this was like a weird cut. Some people are going to say that it's heavily edited and that it's not good. But like you can see, the Miss Hull C was supposed to be in 3.1.
The Miss Hull C for trading. There's probably going to be something like 2 to 3 months between releases.
The Hull C is also moving along nicely. The interior's gone through
This is
blockout
just
phase
like
and
the
is now
audio
well
is so
into
low.
our production. By utilising assets from other MISC ships, we've been able to create spaces quickly and efficiently with the intention to use these across the whole series.
So this was 2017. They were still promoting the Hull C. Looks nice. Although the shots are just like, why are you filming the wall? But sure, whatever. Oh, he has a ladder. Sure. Looks nice. That's it. Now let's skip through it.
The Hull C is in progress, and I think that's going to be the first test of cargo point 2.
I think I've talked about this on previous episodes, why the Hull C is not
2018
out, and it's a few big pieces of tech needed, a step closer.
So one of the tech that we need for like huge ships like this is the engineering gameplay and the like whole feature to be implemented, because they stated a couple of times, and I think that maybe they are a bit more honest in the, I don't know, let's say up the past year than they were in the past fucking 10 years. And yeah, like they told us that they don't want to release huge ships that are just gonna fly and do basically nothing and be oversized Gladiuses or oversized constellations, because yeah, they have no game loops or no features inside of them. So it's understandable that they're delaying ships because of that, but like telling people, like backers, for years that the Hull C is going to be released.
Step closer since we fixed the last blocker, which is actually CR's big physics refactor that he's been working on. Obviously, the Hull C goes like that. We need that central spine area to have its physics grid go with it, because otherwise you're going to go halfway down it and then you're going to fall out into space. So,
are we getting closer to making this thing?
There are games that already have that, and again, I don't know if that's such a, like, the first game that fucking comes to mind is Space Engineers that has mods that do that. And like, for a company not like being able to do that for like 3 years, because this was 2019. So
are we getting closer to making this thing a reality?
We are. Like I say, the ship station docking required animatable and multiple physics grids, which is what the Hull C.
So yeah, he's talking about like ship docking. That's really important for the Hull C. But Golgot accused, I don't know who this streamer is, but yeah, she fell through the docking port or the docking collar, as many of us did, like trying to get inside the hammerhead. Honestly, I had even worse issues than this, because once I step onto the hammerhead fucking explodes, and that's it.
That's one thing ticked off the list of Hull C dependencies. Now you can have gravity in that central spine, but there'll be no air.
Inside the ship, work continues making many of the same types of upgrades to materials,
2021.
signage, and general scale, including
Still hyping up
cutaways for many
the
of the
Hull
new
C.
components that have been developed since the Hull C was last worked on.
And that's where the soon trademark by CAG comes from, because they always say, well, yeah, we're going to finish something soon, and that soon never fucking comes.
What you can see here with the Hull C are the results of not just some recent lighting passes, but an effort to update the interior scales of certain areas for improved player and NPC comfort alike. Addressing those metrics.
So one of the reasons why they delayed it is because the NPCs were not really cooperating with these corridors and stuff like that, because the corridors and like some obstacles inside the Hull C, like they just didn't give them enough space to walk around, and that's a bad on their part, on CAG's part, because if you're making ships or designing a level or whatever for NPCs, you gotta have that in mind, because that was the like initial thing that they said, like back in like Kickstarter days, basically, that you will be able to hire NPCs. I think it was like from Kickstarter. If not, it was like from 2014, and it's like in this video you're watching like 2021. So it's not that like they just woke up and they were like, oh shit, we gotta fix that for the NPCs. No, they just didn't work on the Hull C, and they were just delaying it for other reasons. And then they realized that, oh shit, we fucked up. We need to redo the whole ship, because yeah, like the NPCs cannot walk here, and they're just getting stuck on, like, I don't know, toilets and whatever. So
issues.
Yeah.
When it came time to pull it out of mothballs and start up again, many aspects
2022.
of the shipbuilding
You probably
pipeline
saw this.
had continued to evolve, along with the visual expectations of everyone involved. So while work on the upcoming cargo refactor continues, members of the EU vehicle content team have been gently bringing the Hull C up to modern Star Citizen standards.
Hyping
This
the shit
includes
out of
work
the
on new tractor
ship.
beam and remote camera UI being developed with, I'm sure,
Remote camera UI and the tractor beam. So I guess we're waiting for the tractor beam, and at one point we're probably maybe gonna get the remote UI for the camera.
camera UI being developed with, I'm sure you've probably guessed it, the ever popular building blocks tech, which will allow players to successfully operate this unique addition to the persistent universe.
Now, when I saw this, and I commented this the first time this was in the IC, so I made a reaction video, or the Inside Star Citizen, and I said that this is going to be a heck of a job, and this is going to be so hard to make, just as hard as the mirrors. Because if you do not know, the mirrors or external cameras and stuff like that, if you want to introduce that into the game, that means that you need to render the game twice. So the camera or the mirror is the second render. And some games do that, but it's not a mirror. Some games now can maybe use ray tracing and all that. But also, if a game wants to have, or a game dev wants to have a camera or a mirror or whatever, that only means that he needs to figure out a way how to render the game twice for the two FOVs, for the two POVs, basically, for the 2 points of view, and then like not dip the frame rate completely to oblivion. And also some people, some game devs do that by lowering the resolution of the mirror or the camera or whatever. But we don't know how that's going to work in Star Citizen. And we will see, I guess. Hopefully it's not going to completely destroy our PCs or make us have to buy the 4090 and a new case and a new power supply for it. But I guess we'll see.
And while its smaller sibling, the diminutive Hull A, is scheduled to arrive before it in the upcoming Alpha 317, we'll continue to check in on this economy-altering vehicle as it continues its long journey from concept to completion.
And this is the Hull A.
Okay, jetzt halt die Frage.
Note that in the Hull A you cannot go through this. The idea in the Hull C, you will be able to go through this because this is going to be much bigger, right?
Kollision oder nicht? Ich hab Kollision.
I gotta learn that on the flute. So yeah, amazing. Still waiting on the ship. The problem here is, for example, I'm not mad that the ship didn't work out. I'm not mad that it didn't get released because it didn't have like all the intended features introduced already, so it can use all of that. But I'm mad that they have been hyping the ship up, and if they weren't hyping the ship up, they would tell the backers that it's all working and it's gonna, like, they're gonna see it soon. They have like they had some tech hurdles that they had to like go through, and they fixed most of the things, and soon you're gonna see the ship. That's not how you like do business, and that's not how you talk to your backers if you're in a like public funded project. But sure, like that's just CAG, and this one is gonna be the longest video. Fuck it, we're gonna watch it. We are currently at 20-something minutes, so yeah, we have time for another one. And the reason, no, let me switch the camera. So the reason why I'm making this video now is because I know that a bunch of people are about to buy a bunch of ships for like during IAE, and sure, go do that. But you need to know this. You need to know all of this. But let's continue.
The whole pipe system we have, because we can determine any kind of resource and have it go between any kind of pipe and have time.
So this one is called Pipes to the Maximum, the pipe system 2014 to 2022.
To hold it,
So how robust is the plug-and-play system for ship pipes? That's a great question because I love answering.
If you do not know what a pipeline is, in this case, it means something completely different to like it's going down the ship pipeline. When they say that, that means that they're working on it and that like the pipeline at some point is going to pour out the ship. But in this context, it means the ship nodes and how everything inside of the ships interacts with each other. So, for example, engineering, fuses on the fuse boxes on the components, components damage and component overheating and overloading, and component engineering, or in the sense of upgrading components and all of that, and how that works. Yeah, so this was 2014, and they were talking about that back then.
It's very robust. You can, if what you're asking is attach a soda can to your Class 1 hardpoint, and maybe it's aluminum so it vents heat, versus putting a weapon on there, as long as they can accommodate the size of the can, the size of the weapon.
I mean, we already know that you can attach a Moab onto a whiskey glass, so sure. But I mean, you could have, but it just got fixed in this patch because of streamers and us, the YouTubers, because we wanted that to be fixed like immediately.
Anything can be attached anywhere, and it can work in that slot, and it will update the pipes dynamically, as it's all a data-driven system. That's something that was super important to Chris, is making sure it was a data-driven system, so we could do just that.
2015, I don't know what this EVA animation is. We don't have that. I think that we never had that, but sure.
Turn the panel on. This is going to enable the gravity and the retaliator. Go back to the... Well, okay, it's going to be easy. The gravity's going to come on in a second.
So, if you just started playing, you probably saw that, like all of this, like life support, gravity, and all of that, during this CitizenCon in 2022. But this is CitizenCon in 2015.
Good, now we got gravity on. All right, let's man up the ship. We got the power back on. We need to turn the engineering station on. Who's on the engineering station? So red 3, okay.
Engineering station.
So this is an example of one of the multi-cruise stations where we can change the various powers and radar stuff. We have the weapons online. We can. We'll
power triangle. This is basically all that we have right now on the MFDs. It's just like laid out differently, and that's it.
When we get in the sheet, there we go. The weapons are online now.
But also, we never had like this kind of activation if the ship goes down. So we have the MFD that looks something like this, but you cannot customize this so you can get your weapons up or whatever.
The weapons are online now.
We haven't implemented sort of life support and oxygen issues yet, but the system that we have in terms of the pipe system and our item system, that's actually something that would be fairly easy for us to do. So,
level design, pushing on piping prototype. That's coming along pretty well. Still working on that, but it's getting down to some of those final stages.
Item 2.0 is going to allow us to do
final stages back in 2015.
The radial damage with effects on nearby components, and then through power pipes and overheating, and then kind of a buildup, and that initial that cool video we showed a while back with the explosion. We're still working. So one thing we're introducing very soon after CitizenCon is pierceability. So that means that ammo that you shoot at the ship will go through the hull if given a certain value of your shields and all that. It will strike a component inside and damage it. That component takes enough damage, it may explode. Or it may just give electrical feedback, which can then cause damage elsewhere in the ship. So you'll see arcing lightning going from component to component over the hull of the ship.
So we don't have that, and especially not in the Connie, because the components in the Connie are not physicalized. But we have something like that currently, if you do not know, and that's like you can shoot through the hull and you can disable components by hitting them, and that's working as intended. And honestly, that's amazing, because in a game of this scale that Star Citizen is, with all the like server tick rates and everything that is bad about it, it's amazing that this actually works, and that they are going to that length to make that detailed of a game. And I love it, but also this is 2015 and we still don't have the whole thing that they were talking about here.
And then you'll see explosions happening, and then finally we'll get the if enough components have died, we'll have the ultimate explosion. So that's kind of where we're headed with that.
That's very cool.
So we have something like this. You can take off the what's it called, the engines or the thrusters of the Connie or of most of the ships, but also it doesn't currently work like that. It may work like that in 3.18, but we have to see that.
Cool.
I saw some leaks, some video leaks from 3.18, and it didn't look really promising. That's all that I have to say about it. Maybe it's just a tier 0 as always, but it just looked weird as shit.
I talked to so many different fields just to get this to happen. So I talked to design.
By the way, I'm talking about the soft death and all of that, like mechanics that they're introducing in 3.18.
and to engineering and to art all the time to make sure that what I'm implementing is going to work for the future, not just what we're releasing in the next few weeks.
Yep. So the sound is coming on here. So yeah, live support, air, whatever it's called, air support. No, what the fuck? Air leaks, basically.
Awesome update with
So
item 2.0 being fleshed out.
that was shown in 2016.
Awesome update with item 2.0 being fleshed out with the room system and interaction linking. It really gives us a sense of how the designers will be able to create interesting gameplay and missions.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's opening up a ton of new possibilities. Players will be able to approach the scenario multiple ways. They could charge in guns blazing, turn off the power to bypass security. Maybe they want to forget all that and just force open the lock.
Sure, Chris. 6 years later, we still don't have that. Therefore,
really
we can't have that kind of a gameplay loop.
That we're sort of working on will be a hallmark of Star Citizen. And it's exciting to see it all sort of come together to create such a complex system.
This does involve that we do convert all of our existing items and systems to this 2.0 infrastructure.
But one of the most common questions that we get...
See, the comment that he gave here, and I forgot the name of this guy. I'm not sure if he even works in the company anymore. But props for the Meshuggah t-shirt. But this was 2017, and what he said here is that they need to get all the ships and items up to the new level in 2017. It's 2022 now, and we have a ton of more ships and a ton of different systems and game mechanics that, like it's gonna take him even more time to do all that. Of course, whenever they introduce a new ship, the new ship is probably gonna have those like new mechanics introduced. But also, we already have 200 plus ships that they need to like rework so they can be brought up to the current standards, so they can get all of this, which is amazing. Like, the only reworks that they did was for the Gladius, for the Saber, in the past 2 years. For the Gladius, for the Saber, and they're working on the 600i now. That's 3 ships. 600i is probably not going to be released during this IAE. They're just going to tease the rework and that's it. Maybe they are going to release it, it doesn't matter. But that's 3 ships in 2 years, and we have 200 plus ships. So, sure.
2.0 infrastructure.
But one of the most common questions that we get with all this talk about System 2.0 is why didn't we just make Item System 2.0 the first time? But why wasn't
That's a great idea.
Why wasn't this where we started?
I wasn't here yet. So.
Yeah, well, we weren't here.
Exactly.
I wasn't either.
Yeah. As we make this game, we push out releases. The team looks and says...
See, like, they're making a joke out of this, and I understand that they're frustrated with, like, the Jared and the devs are frustrated with people asking them, why didn't you make item ports or item 2.0? When you started, of course, it wouldn't be called 2.0, that's the joke. But also, if you're making an MMO, why didn't you start with server meshing? Why didn't you start with the fundamentals of the game? And then, of course, you had to sell ships and all of that. You had to have something, but also you should have worked on server meshing in Planetech. Okay, Planetech, it came like in 2015 or something like that, because they changed the whole idea behind the game. Because before that, the idea was just to like have landing zones on the planets. You click on them and you land there. Like it's on the rails. You can't land anywhere on the planet. It just didn't work like that. That was the idea, the initial idea. But then they had enough money and they asked the backers, are you okay with us making Planetech? Do you want that? And the backers said yes. And the rest is history. We're still working, or they are still working on Planetech. And yeah, but also, if you're making an MMO, why not work on server meshing?
Yeah.
That's, I think that's an appropriate question.
And we push out releases. The team looks and says, this doesn't scale, right? We need to get much bigger. So how do we scale?
Now we need to get the actual finalized design and spec and engine and everything that will allow us to take this beyond and actually iterate upon.
One of the features we had to do was make sure that it hooked up to our new pipe system properly, so it would be powered, it would generate heat, and it would overheat and have all that kind of gameplay.
It was really more getting it...
We have that. We have that in the game, so that is truthful.
hooked where we could attach it to a 2.0 ship, but also getting it connecting to the pipe system for power, for heat, for things of that nature, for the fuel system. The old drive didn't use any of that mechanics because it wasn't compatible.
I think there was a question about decompression somewhere. Where are the decompression mechanics we first saw at Gamescom 2015?
Yes, red one.
Yeah, where are they, Chris?
Mechanics we first...
Decompression was the thing I was trying to remember. So not air leaks and decompression.
Where are the decompression mechanics we first saw at Gamescom 2015?
Yes, red one. Where are the decompression mechanics?
We have the room system, and so we know what the air and oxygen is, and the room system bleeds out, so we know the amount of bleed out. And here we go, this is a test, and when the doors open, there you are, there's the vacuum out there, and then there was oxygen in the room system.
So this looks amazing. This is 2018, and they basically showcased the same thing in 2022.
Bled out to their
CitizenCon.
When we started building our ships and building our environments, we started building with what we call the pipe system. And this system, while it did its job pretty well, it's already a bit old, and we're only using it right now for...
Yes, and why? Why is that? Because it was a tier 0 for a long time, and then they realized that, yeah, shit, it's not working, we gotta make something else. And that's like the story of this game, basically. They're just gonna be reworks after reworks because there is a ton of shit to do, and they are basically unorganized, and the management is just like... all over the fucking place, and they like want everything at the same time, but no, not this, but this, and like no focus on Squadron 42, but also give me this. No, fuck that. After a few months, they say fuck that, give me this, etc., etc. So that's why that is happening.
Limited things, so we're trying to build stuff in one component that rules them all. Since this is a system that's going to affect so many things in the game, this needs to be done properly and done properly from the beginning.
This needs to be done properly and done properly from the beginning.
Yep.
We have the initial implementation of life support components and their connected vents working internally, but rolling it out for the ships will take a while as we need to literally plumb the ships with a set of extra components.
Yep.
Not just the life support component, but all its vents. We have a few other systemic ship features like
200 plus ships.
An update to the pipe system that shares resources like power, heat, fuel, atmosphere between components that will be more flexible and scalable. A ballistic round passes through the ship's shield, which scrubs off some of its kinetic energy, but not enough as the round's velocity was high as was its mass, as it was an armor-piercing round. It manages to penetrate the armor and strikes an internal component, say a power relay node, something else we are working on as part of the pipe system refactor. I can promise you the gameplay I described is not a pipe dream, nor will it take 10 to 20 years to deliver.
And
okay, this was in 2020. The first pipeline talks were in 2015, right? No, 2014. So yeah,
probably very similar to the life support one. Regarding resource management, will content teams need to rework existing ships before this can be implemented in the PU?
Yes, quite significantly, actually. Yes.
Yep.
Because we have some legacy systems that work.
Like, for example, they can't even give us a new paint job for the PTV because the PTV needs to be reworked because it's built on a legacy system, so you cannot apply any paints to it. Therefore, what do you think that like the, what's it called, the Starfarer or the Carrack or any of the older ships, maybe the Carrack actually has it, I'm not sure, but like any of the older ships do not have this system.
But are not the ideal.
Like they don't have all the components, they don't have all the holes plugged, as Chris said. So,
way that we intended to have it work. So there are some optimizations that we have to do so that it runs performant and that we don't put too much stress on everything, which is already quite stressed. So yeah, there's a lot to do on our side.
Yep.
So every ship needs to be touched. And every item that is existing also needs to be touched.
The good thing is that it's kind of going to be a bit combined, I think, with the life support. So because they both use obviously resource systems, so just like at least it won't have to be done twice. Hopefully, maybe.
Hopefully, maybe.
We started talking about
2022,
resource
yay.
management
You saw this in Silicon.
2 years ago.
Couple
It
of
is
weeks-
pretty
weeks
much
ago.
the evolution of what used to be the old pipe system, and this has been an
That's like this interview or whatever you want to call it. This video is why I made the like reworks of the reworks, tier 0 video with everything is tier 0 and everything is a fucking rework. This is why, because I knew all of this. I just didn't have enough time to like find all these clips, and also thank you to Golgot 100 for showing me how to find the clips, because there is a tool that you can use for that, but also I just didn't know how to, and but I saw all these videos, and I knew all the troubles that they had, and like the reworks of the reworks, and I was just fucking pissed off. And yeah,
interesting journey.
This is why.
The last year we've made tremendous progress with the resource management system, but with a system that is this big and complex, we do not want to rush it. We want to just get it right and get it right from the beginning.
You didn't want to rush it back in 2014. That's the issue. Yeah, and we're almost at the end of 2020. 2022. So yeah, thank you Golgot 100 for the videos. Just go subscribe to him. I always want to say Golgot for some reason, but I know that that's not his name. But yeah, it's amazing. And if you're asking yourself like, why is Grumpy pissed off at Star Citizen and CAG, this is why. This is basically why. Some of the things that they said here, of course, were truthful, and some of the things were implemented or introduced to the game, and we have like the heat system and all of that, but most of the things that they said are not there, like down to the most like nitpicky thing with the EVA mechanic that we saw with him like using his arms and just like landing, soft landing on a wall because he is an EVA. But yeah, it's fucking amazing. So thank you again, Golgot 100 for the videos. They are amazing and really good job. In time, the editing will be much better, and I can't wait for that. I know that this was a really long-ass video, and I'm sorry about that, but this was really important for all of you to see it, and for you to go and subscribe to this guy, because yeah, he's amazing, and you guys are amazing. And thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons, the most amazing people in the world, for supporting me, for supporting my channel, for supporting my Star Citizen endeavors, and buying ships to review them or to give them away at some point. So if you want to support me, there's going to be a link down in the description of the video, and you can support me there. There's also like super chat, super thanks, super whatever, fucking YouTube. I don't know all the terminology, but there's also that if you want to support me. And thank you again for watching, and make sure to like hit that subscribe button, because with that you're gonna enter the giveaway, and everybody wins. You all win my love and appreciation. And yeah, don't forget to bring it all when you're traveling into space, and bye.